So, what would have inspired me to write Snow on Banana Leaves would have been the occurrence of the volcanic eruption in St. Vincent and the Grenadines last year in April. Um, well, the inspiration is twofold. That would have inspired it, as well as a prompt from an organization headed up by a colleague of mine, where they would have wanted stories coming out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I was writing from a place of trying to accomplish some kind of relief and catharsis myself, especially because I wasn't at home. So I felt as if I was having a version of survivor's guilt. Not that there were any human losses, but you feel like you really should be there to experience it. And it was a way for me to kind of pay some kind of tribute to what was happening, and to release my own concern. Generally, what inspires me to write, I feel like when you're a writer, it's just something that happens. It's a natural outflow. Um, so I write when I'm not sure what else I should do. I free write. I do journaling. I write poetry or I write prose. Drama comes less naturally to me, but living inspires me to write. Strong emotions inspire me to write. Great writers inspire me to write. I would say, to be honest, those would be my key motivations and inspirations. Well, the question of when did I know I was a writer is difficult to answer because there was no particular point at which I was like, oh, wow, I'm a writer. It felt as if it was something I was born to do. I've been writing for as long as I can remember. When I was 11 years old, I wrote what I call my first novel. Obviously, I've never published it, but I wrote about 40 pages and I felt so proud of myself. And I just continued. I know a lot of people have the stereotype readers or leaders, and I believe that voracious readers eventually become writers generally. So I knew from a very young age, after doing lots of reading and then letting writing be an outflow from that, that I was a writer. And I felt like it was something that I could not live without doing. So I continued on throughout my academic process and then doing it as a hobby for fun. My favorite writers, this list is an extensive one. It changes depending on what's going on in my life at the time and which writers I can really feel like I connect with. Margaret Atwood is a longtime favorite of mine. Handmaid's Tale and her poetry in particular. Erna Broadbent, I really love her sociological exploration in her works and the way in which she brings to life Jamaican experiences. I love her writing. Olive Sr. is an eternal favorite of mine since I was a child, and her magic is still not lost on me. And I think that is such an exceptional thing for a writer to always be able to have that effect on you. Um, Love her poetry and her prose, all of it. Well, all that I've read. I haven't read her novel yet, but I've read almost everything else she's put out, except her most recent collection. Um, and also, I'm a big fan of Edwidge Danticott's talent at capturing grief in such a poignant fashion. And Kamal Brathwaite is also a big favorite of mine in terms of his poetry. This is a challenging concept for me to unpack because again, it really depends on who's my favorite at the time. And Oscar Wilde, I really appreciate his wit. I'm gonna say those are my favorite writers right now. Currently, I am working on um, revamping a poetry manuscript called The Mother Island. I'm hoping to publish it within the near future. I'm also working on a novel, but in terms of when it would be complete, I'm not sure. So most of my energy right now is going into finishing short stories that come to hand. But thematically, I generally focus on writing about the immigrant experience, on motherhood, on reflecting on my culture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So it could be very nostalgic. So I would say, yeah, currently those are the things I'm working. The best book I've read in the last 12 months is a challenging question for me to answer. I feel like people who read several works off, unless you come across something truly exceptional, you find it difficult to pinpoint what the best work would be. But for me, currently, for me, the best work would be something I've reread several times, and it has not lost its impact on me. So that would be a traditional favorite for many. Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. Um, it's a very popular read and not for no reason. The artistry in the work is brilliant, and I think for me that leaving those images in your head alongside the narrative, just leaving those images in your head of the beauty and the extent of the Igbo culture, for me, definitely that would probably be the most um, impactful read I've had for the last 12 months. Currently, I am in a reread phase. So I'm currently rereading John Milton's major works. I'm a huge fan of his poetry. Um, so yeah, that's really what I've been reading in terms of, well, currently not Paradise Lost, more of his minor poems, The Lego, Il Penseroso, those poems in particular, and a few others. That's what I'm reading right now.